Good afternoon, everybody. We're here with Caleb Evans from OTO Fertility. Caleb, thank you so much for joining us today.
Paul.
For the people out there that don't know about OTO, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we're interestingly got a funny origin story in the sense that we're a 40-year-old startup. So we started as a remote monitoring solution in space medicine, a joint venture between NASA and the former Soviet Union. Migrated from there when that fell apart. I think it became uncouth to collaborate with Russians at some point in time.
A couple times, I think, over the years.
A couple times.
Depending on the week.
Yeah, on the week, yeah. And then we went into high-level sports performance.
Yep.
And when we became really intrigued about the technology was when it said they could predict complications in pregnancy.
Yeah.
So with being on that side, we said if you could predict complications in pregnancy, it's likely you have insight into the full reproductive journey that couples go through. And so we thought to ourselves, well, let's see if we can figure that out. So we migrated the technology into Canada. That's where I'm from. And today I'm proud to be able to say we can predict the outcome of IVF before you do it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
So we have a proprietary hardware device. So it's a remote monitoring solution. It's a diagnostic, so it's not just a tracker. It's at home 4 minutes once a day. We track over 90 different physiological parameters. 16 of those parameters are more predictive than the current standard of care when it comes to treatment success. And so in the industry right now, you may not know, but 1 in 5 transfers, so if you're going for an IVF transfer, 1 in 5 actually work.
Right.
1 in 5 couples now globally are infertile, and 90% of those services for fertility is privately paid for, at an average cost of about $20,000 to $25,000 a transfer. So for where we're at as a company, 1 in 5 current standard of care, we're 4 times better.
Amazing.
Amazing. You look at that from a time to conception, cost perspective, emotional toll perspective, a significant change where we think we can really drive in the market.
Tell me a little about what you're doing at CES this year. Is that sort of the key piece you're showing off?
Yeah, we're at our booth. We're showing off what we're doing from a consumer perspective. We're really attacking the market in 2 different streams right now.
Right.
So we're trying to go and support doctor transition. So that B2B side of it, where doctors get better insights now as a tool to help their patients from a support perspective, but also helping patients now, which is why we're here at CES, helping that consumer side understand that they have more agency in demanding their physicians and treatment plans when it comes to what they want for their life.
I feel like you're getting some interesting traffic at the booth, both doctors and consumers.
It's a very interesting mix, yeah. And it's great because often as well what happens is you start talking to people about what they're doing, their backgrounds, physicians, whether it's patients, it's consumer side. But invariable as well, we get people who come and say, I have a friend or my brother or myself have been through these things. We had somebody today came to our booth, said, me and my wife, we've been through 5 IVF cycles and failed every single time. And every single time we did our genetic testing, everything looked good, we've got every part that we need to be able to be successful, and they just look at us and say, we don't know why it failed. And so that's why we exist. We exist for those couples to give them better insight, previously misunderstood, better insight into the likelihood of success. The other thing that we do, which is not just identifying why you can't get pregnant, is we give you real personal solutions to help you optimize yourself to give yourself that best chance of success.
Amazing.
So now this is agency and control.
Right.
So not just here's the problem, but here's the solution. And those are personalized with AI. So you now get your data in, it's precise, it's individualized data, but you get your precise individual solution as well.
I love that we're talking about AI at CES, and it's not about a robot.
Yeah.
It's not about it's not Lego powered, AI powered Legos.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of cool.
It's very cool. And one of the things I love talking to people who are talking about incredible tech. What's caught your eye at CES? You're in very narrow sort of health tech space, but maybe the laundry folding AI robot caught your attention. But I'd love to know what's grabbing you so far.
Well, we did go by the margarita booth.
Oh yeah, well that's good.
So we did hit that one.
Innovations in margaritas are important.
Yeah, it was interesting. The lawn robot that's self-powered was also pretty cool. That also did snow.
Yeah.
Interesting about me is I live on I'm Canadian, I live on 25 acres in the forest, and so having a robot that does a few things around the house would be super helpful on that side. I think as well, the broader conversation that we're having at CES right now, and I was on a panel yesterday talking about it, is the future of wearables and health tech. Right? I think now as we're looking into policy and countries and how we look at our own health overall, 40 years ago, 95% of your health information came from your primary care physician. Now it's 45%. We're getting into a world where people want more information at home that's better. It's better insights. They get more control over it, and they can actually take agency for themselves. And so I think those are the things that I think starting to happen now at CES, where they're getting better. The sensors are getting better. The technology is getting better, but the customer's demanding more.
What are some other takeaways from your panel discussion?
I think the big question when you look at these types of things overall is who pays, right? That is the big question from a policy perspective. As a Canadian, we have public health care that's covered, by our authorities overall, except for fertility. Surprisingly, it's still privately paid for. So, you're starting to have those conversations around when you look at preventative health tools, how do you migrate that into a public policy where it becomes paid for so that everybody gets access? Right, and so those are the things that I think would be, very interesting discussion points. I think that the other part about that is, the regulatory arm of the FDA. What role does it play in an increasingly fast-paced, moving ecosystem when it comes to AI? Because the algorithm changes. So you take, whatever you're doing from an algorithm perspective through that FDA process, and then it gets better, it gets more data, it gets trained again. Now you have to go, well, do we go back to the FDA and go through another 5 or 7 year process? So those are the conversations that I think need to take place from a regulatory perspective that helps innovation, get to speed and to scale faster. And so I think those things are, big impacts for me as you look at takeaway. And I think, again, all of this has to come down to patient outcomes, right? If we can be safe and it's good efficacy, but it's driving towards the patient outcome that they want, and that's where our company is highly focused on is that fertility, pregnancy, postpartum space right now, that reproductive journey where we're caring about outcomes, healthy pregnancies, healthy babies, healthy after, where you can get that insight. I think that we can give a better product to better people, overall.
Well, I don't want to put pressure on you because you're already impacting millions of lives.
Yeah.
But what's ahead for OTO?
Yeah, really exciting. I mean, we're launching at CES, we're launching our new wrist device. So right now we're a chest strap and a sensor. We're going to be migrating that to the wrist. The biggest thing for us is this commercial opportunity that we've got in front of us. 1 in 5 couples globally. We want to be in every fertility clinic around the world in the next 3 years. We've got great partners right now in the US that we're deploying to help people have babies faster with less cost, less stress, and less pain. And so it's very meaningful on that side to be able to provide that solution.
All right. Well, Caleb, I'm hoping we can meet up next year and you can give me an exact number how many babies you guys are responsible for.
But I'd love to. Yeah, thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands.
You guys are doing great work. Thank
Appreciate
you so much.
Thanks, Paul.
Take care.
Yeah,
Good luck.